Well, good evening. This is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 17th of July, and that is a Tuesday evening. And I'm just going to do a couple of stories this evening. And this Facebook red-faced is quite a disturbing little story. And what had happened was there is a small newspaper based out of Liberty, a Texas town of about 75,000 people outside Houston, planned to post the Declaration of Independence on Facebook in 12 daily installments leading up to the 4th of July, 242 years since the document was adopted as the Second Continental Congress in 1776. And so what happened was Facebook took it down as hate speech. That's right. The Constitution was taken down off Facebook as hate speech, and this should be extremely concerning to every citizen of North America. I know we're in Canada, but we still have a Constitution, and that Constitution guarantees your freedom of speech and all of your rights, all of the things that allow us to enjoy the life that we lead today. And the fact that a Facebook algorithm could not recognize that should be an absolute red flag, in your face warning, because it absolutely shows that the algorithm is basically going on a set of checkpoints. It is not reading the context. It is not taking into account any of the nuance of the writing, anything like that. And so what's going to happen? And you see, these algorithms learn, they add things to their list as they go through and read texts. Okay, so what is going to happen is the search is going to become narrower and narrower and narrower, and the definition of hate speech is going to become narrower and narrower and narrower, until you actually can't say anything, because it will all be defined as some kind of hate speech in this bizarre world which we seem to be moving into. And that kind of leads me to the second story, and it says fake news worries a majority of Canadians. Okay, so this was a poll, and done by the Nanos Research, and of course, you know, I absolutely love it when I see this at the end of a poll. Okay, the survey was conducted between April 28th and May 4th with 1,000 Canadians. Okay, so this says fake news worries a majority of Canadians. We're 33 million people in this country. So they took 1,000 of those 33 million people and based this article on what they think. They said they applied that to the entire population. So anyway, it goes on to say survey results based on the total sample are considered accurate plus or minus 3.1 percentage points 19 times out of 20. You know, when they add an escape clause at the end of a poll result like that, I don't know what you think, but I don't think I even really understand what plus or minus 3.1% percentage points 19 times out of 20 actually really means. Like, so how accurate is that? You ever ask yourself that question? I ask myself all the time. I see this thing all the time, this 19 times out of 20, and I ask myself, what the heck does that really mean in real terms? I guess this is pollsters' language. What is interesting about this? Let me read from the article. It's good that people are aware of this issue and concerned about it, but it's also a little frightening that it makes you wonder if the overall trust in the institution of journalism has really dropped, which it has. Half of Canadians agreed and 30% somewhat agreed. That is 80% of Canadians agreed that journalism, the integrity in journalism, has fallen off a cliff. And you know, it doesn't say this, but I suspect that most of these 1,000 people, at least in a large part, are watching mainstream media outlets like CBC, CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, all this kind of stuff, City TV, all this kind of thing. And so anyway, they go on to say, oh yeah, 38% agreed and 34% agreed somewhat that the government regulation needed to prevent the spread of fake news. And of course, Anne Hefner said the research is really still out in terms of how we can combat fake news. Anytime the government regulates the news industry is extremely uncomfortable and something that we are very concerned about. And you see, this is the problem. This is the problem with people like me broadcasting on the internet on a very low budget and just talking about issues like this and maybe taking them apart a little bit for the general public. So another part of the survey says more than 8 in 10 say false information that looks legitimate is making it harder to find out what's real. To help prevent the spread of fake news, 7 out of 10 Canadians think the government should step in. So again, I think that what they're telling you is that they're having difficulty deciphering what's fake news on the mainstream media, and I think you're finding they're being driven onto the internet to try and find alternate news sources and the truth. And I'm sure it is exactly because of this kind of thing right here.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
We are concerned about trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Anyway, I think this is an important issue. Both of those stories need to be really absorbed by the public. And I think we really need to understand what happened with Facebook and taking down the Constitution, the American Constitution, as hate speech, because it's the writer of the algorithm. Somebody started that algorithm up and put the parameters into that algorithm. Okay, so this gives you a small insight into the mind of Mark Zuckerberg and the people who work for him. And of course we can see that Facebook absolutely has no conscience whatsoever. It is selling people's information to the highest bidder worldwide, whether that be the Chinese government, Chinese corporations, or anybody who is running an election in any part of the world. So we need to talk about these things, we need to speak out about these things, we need to point them out. We need to point them out on Facebook. You know, make those comments. Because if we don't talk about this, we're not going to solve the problem. And I can guarantee you that Facebook and the government, if they solve the problem for you, you are in big trouble. Okay, so that's it for this evening, and I hope you have a great week coming up. Please like and subscribe below, leave a comment. I love to hear what you have to say, and we will talk to you very soon. This is Hound Dog Steve signing off. You take care. Bye bye now. See ya.